Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me makeup tutorial video for those in climates with humidity. So I just wanted to share with all of you guys how to do makeup in these climates. So I obviously, as you know, live in Bali and the climate is hot, sticky and humid all year round. Even if the temperature does drop a little bit, it's still very sticky. So I wanted to share my tips and tricks on how I do my face. Now, I have already prepped my face with skincare, so that's done, but I'll share with you exactly what I do. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is I use the Avene foaming cleanser. It's really light and great for sensitive skin if you have that. And yeah, I just foam it up, use water and wash my face from the sleep, and then I apply the Fresh Beauty Rose Floral Toner. It looks like this. This is a new pickup for me because I wanted to try this rose spritz, and I am a loyal fan of the Mario Badescu facial spray, the rose one as well. And this is really affordable actually, so it might be that I continue buying this one because Fresh Beauty isn't cheap either. So this is a new purchase from Singapore, and all I do is just spritz it around my face and let that dry into the skin. Then I go about and do a shower, and then once I've done that, I go in with my eye serum, which currently is the Ordinary's caffeine solution. It looks like this, super affordable. I believe this is about $8 or under 10 Australian dollars anyways, and I just pat it under the eye area. Now this says it reduces puffiness and pigmentation. I'm not sure about anything to do with fine lines or stuff like that, so if any of you have any recommendations of a serum based eye product, please comment below, because I am looking for something like that in the anti-aging space. So this is great, but I'm not sure it does everything, and I don't really like thick creams that go under the eye. I'm not a fan of that anyways. In a moisturizer as well, it has to be very soft and lightweight for me. So that's currently what I use and for the under eye. And then I go into the face with the SK-II facial treatment essence. Now this, if you look up close, is the facial treatment clear lotion. I was gifted this by a friend who said they had a spare bottle and didn't want to use it, when in fact it was the clear lotion, not the essence part, which is fine. I've actually used this before and it is really good. They just do slightly different things if you read up on the SK-II website, and you can use them in conjunction with each other, which is really great. But I have been using this, and I just use it on the hand, pour it on the hand, and dab it on the face all over. So this is really great. Now SK-II is really expensive. I think a bottle like this is $240, something ridiculous like that. So I'm looking for a cheaper alternative, and while I was in the Fresh Beauty store in Singapore, I did manage to pick up this as well, which is the Fresh Beauty Black Tea Kombucha Facial Treatment Essence. Now this is in the wonderful Chinese New Year packaging. You can see the little pig there. And I wanted to see if this stood up to the SK-II one, because this is more affordable than $240 odd or whatever for a big bottle of SK-II. And I've had good luck with the rose toner, and I wanted to see if this stood up to it, the SK-II one at least. So when this bottle finishes of the clear lotion, I'm going to go in with this. Now if it doesn't stand up and I still go like the SK-II one, I do have a spare bottle in Australia, but I'm not going back there anytime soon, so I hope I like this. And it was really good on the hand when I tested it. I just have to see if it sits well on the face. So yeah, that is what I'm really excited to try. If any of you have tried it, let me know as well, because I'm really keen on that. So that is kind of my face done, and then I go in with a kind of moisturizer type thing. I don't know if this is classified as a moisturizer, but I certainly like it. It is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. It looks like this. It's got a beautiful citrus fragrance. It's so good, and it actually for me acts as a primer here, so I don't have to go in with a primer on top of this, because I find if I put too much stuff on my face, it actually doesn't make the makeup stick properly. This is a little bit tacky and sticky, which is what I want. And yeah, I'm really keen on this. I'm running low, so I'm super bummed that I haven't had a chance to pick up a replacement of this great face cream. And if I were to use a actual primer, the only one I would use is Too Faced Hangover Primer. This is absolutely wonderful. It's got coconut water in it, smells lovely, not too strong, and yeah, I would go with this one, but this is empty, so I only have the Beverly brand to go off of. So yeah, that is kind of a brief overview of my skincare currently. It has changed a little bit since I did my skincare videos, so that's a lot lighter on product and to avoid any irritation to the skin. Now here I don't have any issues with hydration, so my skin is already hydrated because the weather is humid and it's warmer, there's more sun, so I don't tend to need any of those really deep hydration products, but I still like my skin to be dewy so that the makeup then dews up a little bit on top of my skin without being so dewy that it melts off my face. So that's kind of how I do it. Now once all that's done, I do officially start my makeup process, and the first thing I do is go in with 3 different types of concealers. Now I'll show you each step as well, but the first concealer I use is the Mercier Secret Camouflage. I'm in the shade SC3. This is a great concealer. It comes in 2 colors already in the quad thing, and a lighter shade and a darker shade, because here as well you do tend to tan and your color might not match your neck area, décolletage area, so it's good to have 2 options. Now, I use this as my first step, so you'll see that I tend to use concealer in favor of any heavy foundations. And I will use a light foundation as well, just to show you how you can add it. But in reality, if you do all these steps with concealer, you don't actually need to use a proper foundation. You can just get away with a concealed face of areas where you want to cover up blemishes, spots, things like that, as well as brighten. So the Mercier one is great for the under eye area for brightening, as well as a darker shade I tend to use for covering any spots. So my skin hasn't been that great. You can probably see there's a bit of redness here from dried out spots, and I use my fingers with this product. You can use a brush, but I just prefer fingers. And then I just go in right under the eye with the lighter shade, like so. And I'm being very liberal with this because it's actually acting as my base. Now with this, I don't tend to go everywhere with the lighter shade, because I will fill in with the other 2 concealers. And I'll take a bit of the darker shade here and cover a little bit of spots I have around here. They just won't go away. Now I tend to focus on my nose area, like around the nose, because here that's where I find a lot of makeup collects when it starts to get a bit patchy by the end of the day. Okay. That's kind of what I do with the first stage of concealer. Just get it all over the face, particularly under the eye, around areas of concern. And then I take a Beauty Blender product, a damp one, and I just go in and pat all the product into my skin so it's evenly dispersed. And I pat quite hard so I don't drag the makeup and leave patches on my skin. So that's my first step in the whole process, really, of makeup. And then I go in and I take another concealer. Now this is more full coverage, and I think is better for concealing spots or blemishes, but I do not think it's great for the under eye area, and it is the Nars Soft Matte Complete Concealer. It comes in a little pot like this. I'm the shade Custard, and it's really great. It's very thick, but please don't use this under the eye. It's not really made for that, I don't believe, so I would just beware. And I'm going to use a brush with this, and I'm going to use my favorite brush at the moment, and it's the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection brush. I think it's number 7. That's a bit gross. There's like a hair there. It's really great because it's got one end has a fluffy foundation brush, and the other end has a smaller concealer brush that you can use to get into smaller areas. I'm going to take this end and put it in the little pot from Nars, and then I'm just going to go in to some of my areas of concern. And at the moment it's my chin, some redness there, and then around where I had some spots on my cheek. And I'm going to go around the nose as well, because I feel like that, as I said earlier, is where makeup builds up for me and at the end of the day starts to look a bit gross and patchy. So at this point I can technically say I have makeup done, and if I am going out on no makeup days, basically I would just put some concealer on just like this, use the Mercier one and the Nars one, set the makeup with a spray and do my brows, and then off I go. So that's done. So basically it's looking a lot more smoothed out, spots and redness are covered, and now I'm going to go in with a little bit of foundation. And I talked about this foundation in my previous video about my go-to foundations here. It is the MAC Next to Nothing face color, and it is very, very light, perfect for this weather condition. People have not liked this because it is so light, and I think maybe people were expecting a more full coverage look from this foundation, and it will never give you that. It's called a face color, so that hints to exactly what it's going to do for you. It's just going to add a little bit of color, nothing too much, but that's what I am looking for here. And I'm the shade medium plus, and to be honest, I could be any of the shades because they are so light. You can probably get away with a darker or a lighter shade if you want. So I'm going to continue with the IT Cosmetics brush, and I'm going to just use the foundation side and just pump a little bit of product onto the brush, and I'm just going to go all over the face with it and stipple it in. It feels very light, which is what I want. So I don't feel like I'm wearing makeup, because do you know when you feel like you're wearing makeup and it's hot, it just feels the worst. Make sure I blended this out right. And there we go. Okay, so that is the foundation placed with the 2 concealers, the Nars Soft Matte one and the Mercier Secret Camouflage. And at the moment it's looking pretty glowy for me, and I don't want to add any more glow to the skin because I know that it's going to bother me throughout the day. I will add a bit of bronzer and highlight, but this is basically the face base done and dusted. You can see it's covered everything, and as I said, even if you wanted to go that extra mile, you could have the 2 concealers and this MAC foundation and set it, and you'll be ready to go. Now on days when I'm really lazy, I'll just do the 2 concealers, no foundation, only because I actually like the pared down makeup look. I just find it's effortless and chic here, obviously, because if you are going places like the beach, who wants to be wearing makeup? Also, I want to be wearing a sunscreen, so I don't want to be adding any like foundation-y things to my skin. So this is what I go with if I'm just doing my everyday thing or wanting to have a bit of a higher end look going on. This is my face. Okay, so let us go in with my final concealer step, and that is a newbie, and it's the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r concealer. It matches exactly with the shades of the foundation, so I've just picked up exactly what I am, which is 260. Another pickup from Singapore, and I really wanted to try this to see if it stood up to my all-time fave, the Nars Creamy Concealer. So let's go in with this. It is very thick, so as I say, less is more. You can always add more if need be. And now I tend to not like to do that triangle thing people do for under eye concealer, only because I feel like it's a lot of product and I don't think you need a lot of this. It's very thick and creamy. So I always do under the eye, around the nose, down the nose, and around the forehead area, and around the chin. So with this concealer and with the Nars creamy one, I always use a beauty blender to blend everything out because a brush just doesn't do it for me and leaves things feeling streaky. And so I'd rather it have a smooth finish to it, and a beauty blender and works really well for this. So let's go in and blend it out and see if I need any more product. I always start with like the chin and the forehead first, and then go in for the under eye. This is really good. Like, I've been using this Fenty concealer for the past 2 weeks since I've had it really, and I like it, but I'm really loyal to the Nars creamy concealer, so I don't know if I will replace it completely, but this is good. And under the eye, I like to dab quite heavily into it so that I don't drag the product across my eyeballs or skin, really. Looking pretty good so far. It is very full coverage, well, medium to full really. And then I'm going to set the under eye area with another new Fenty product as well. Now that product, their setting powder, is amazing. So when I get to that, you'll see how it just airbrushes the skin. I'm going to go in with a little bit more under the eye. Nothing too crazy. It's giving a very smooth look to my under eye area, this concealer, which is great. That's what you want in a concealer. You don't want it to make your under eye area look dry or patchy. You want it to be smooth and look like it's been just airbrushed. So that is the third and last concealer step done. The Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r concealer, all blended out. Now I want to set everything properly, so I'm going to go in with, as I said, a newbie, the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r setting powder, and I'm using the shade Banana. Now, I actually think I'm 2 shades of this, so the Banana is great for my under eye area to set that. It's not great for the rest of my face because I am of Asian background. I already have yellow tones in my skin, so I don't want to like make myself more yellow. So I think it's the lavender shade that I would be if I'm going to use it all around my face to set it. So because I like this so much, I think I'm going to pick that up as well. Now Fenty Beauty for some reason is not sold in Indonesia, so I'm gonna have to wait a bit and use this on my face. Not so bad, but I can fix it with bronzer or blush. That's the look of the product, the Banana product. It's just a little bit in my top lid, and I go in with my Sigma 4D HD Kabuki brush with the point at the end, and I just take a lot of the product. I'm being very generous here, and I just dab under the eye area because I really want to set this, because there's nothing worse than your concealer under the eye becoming streaky, patchy. I take it around my nose and on my forehead as well, where I've applied the Fenty Beauty concealer. And as you can see already, it's starting to airbrush out all the product and make it look seamless and flawless, which is great. Now, my tip here, as well as using concealer as your main base for your face, really, is to spend time setting everything properly. Don't skip out on this process, because you will find that if you do, things won't stay on all day and not survive being outdoors in the humidity. So I'm just going to go in with a heaps more product. Okay, so I'm just taking it along the cheek. So as you can see now, pretty flawless base now with it looking pretty airbrushed. So I personally love this product. So because I don't have the other color, the lavender purplish one, I will just take a bit of the product and take it all over my face. I am using the Zoeva Powder Polish Brush 107, I think. Looks like this. It's very big and dense on the top and great for applying powder. So I'm just taking a little bit from here and tap off the excess because I really don't want to look too yellow. And just take it all around the face. And that is it. So that is everything really done for my face. I don't really do anything more with it except for maybe add a little bit of bronzer or blush depending on what look I'm going for. Now, because I am going to use bronzer today that has a bit of shimmer, I'm not going to use blush. So the blush I tend to go for at the moment is the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach. It looks like this. It's wonderful. It has a very synthetic peachy smell. I don't love that, but I'm in love with the color. And if you want to skip out on the highlight stage, you can still use this because it's got a bit of shimmer to it. So if you are strapped for time and just want a very simple look, I would recommend this. Really good. So, but I'm going to do bronzer because I want to look glowy without having a heavy glow, and something that looks like I've done a full face of makeup but is not full heavy makeup like a contour or something like that. So this is very simple. So I'm going to use the Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light. It looks like this. The packaging beautiful from their Ambient line. All the Hourglass like powders is excellent. This is no exception. The color looks like this. It is got shimmer in it, or it has got shimmer in it, and it's beautiful. And I will be using this with a little bit of highlight as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brush, and it's a Sigma large angled contour brush. It looks like this. Really, really good for things like contouring and applying bronzers, blushes, things like that. I dab a little bit into the pan, and I'm just going to go into the highs of my cheeks and around the forehead. It adds so much to the face by using a bronzer, but this color is subtle enough with a little bit of shimmer that it doesn't look like you're just packing on bronzer. So that is the bronzer done. If you can see my face, it's looking pretty glowy at the moment. There's shimmer in it, so you can possibly skip the highlight stage as well, but I'm not going to. I love highlighters. Before I add highlighter, I'm actually going to do my brows first. Now, with brows, I tend to stick to what I know and love, and that is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in chocolate. It's my all-time favorite brow product, so I benefit. I know I do my eyebrows often with you guys, but I just tend to like the Anastasia products better, and it's just me personally. And I have used the Benefit ones, and they're really good too, but personally, I prefer the Brow Wiz and their whole range of brow products. I'm just going to brush my eyebrows up, make sure that they're all tamed because I haven't done anything with them. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the product, and I'm going to just fill in all the gaps. Now my eyebrows are pretty arched. I like them like that. I don't like a very subtle brow look, so it's like it's either arched and quite dark for me. How is that looking? Some days, if I really don't want my makeup to be too done, I won't put any brow product in it. I'll just set the brows with the clear gel from Anastasia. So, but today, I figured I should do my brows. So everyone have that feeling that one brow looks a bit uneven? I always have that. So that is the Brow Wiz section done. And then I'm going to quickly go in with, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Pomade. Looks like this, and you have to use a separate like brow brush to get the product. So I'm using one from Sephora. It looks like this, with a applicator on one end and a spoolie on the other. So I'll just take a bit. This is probably like the heaviest I've done my brows in a long time here. So there we go. They're looking pretty dark, the way I like my brows to be now that I've added the dip pomade. Then I'm just going to brush a little bit with the spoolie end of the Sephora set. I'm not going to do things too dramatically because I don't want to move. There we go. Ta-da! And then last for the brows is setting it with a setting gel, and that's the clear brow gel from Anastasia. It looks like this. It's the best on the market. It has the best spoolie. I have the Benefit one. The applicator is just terrible, to be honest. You can't get it into the brow properly so that it sets every part of the brow. But this, it's got the perfect spoolie. There we go, and those are my brows officially complete. Yes! And I'm going to add a little bit of highlight. So, the highlighter I'm going to go is an oldie but a goodie, and it's from Becca, and it is the Champagne Pop, and it looks like this. It's a wonderful champagne-y gold color, if I can open it, and as far as I know, it was a limited edition for a blogger collaboration or YouTuber, and now it's become part of their permanent range, and there it is there. It's stunning. You don't need a lot of this product, but it is beautiful on the skin. I'm going to use another Sigma brush. It's going to be the high cheekbone highlighter brush. I'm just going to dab it into the pan and highlight areas that I feel I want a bit of bam on it. So I always do the bridge of the nose, the cupid's bow, some on the chin, and then I go into the high ends of the cheekbone. Now with this, you don't need to do a lot of highlighter, but I am me and I tend to overdo highlighter anyways. Even when I say I want to do a little bit, I end up going into the face, so you know, don't be me. Now on my lips, I've got, and I had on before I even started doing this and filming, was the Dior Lip Glow. I think it's in the berry shade. I always use that before I start my makeup process so that my lips are hydrated if I do put on any lip product. And at the moment, I'm not using heavy lip products. I'm using light glosses, tinted balms. I don't recommend a heavy lipstick here. And there we go. That is my highlighter done. So my face is basically done. The last step for me is to set everything, and the only product I use for setting the face is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I do know they have a range of other products, including a anti-pollution one, but I'm gonna stick to the oldie but the goodie, the All Nighter one. And I'm very, very generous with applying this. So you'll find that I actually soak my face in this so that it really sets in. And I do not need to touch up my makeup at all for the rest of the day. Here we go. And there we go. It's pretty much all over my face. And I'm just going to wait till it dries to show you the finished look. But basically, with setting it properly and with using concealers as your base, you are going to get a full look without the feeling of wearing heavy makeup. So there are definitely foundations that I do not recommend using here, and that's anything too matte and full coverage. And I would stick to tinted moisturizers, CC creams, BB creams, and very light foundations like the MAC one I just used. The other thing I would do is try to avoid layering on so many products. So you'll see that I don't do contouring here at all. So here I would stick to either a bronzer or a blush. If you can only pick one, that would be great. But if you have to have two, just make sure that you don't use a whole lot of product and you're very minimal with it. Just remember to set it properly. So those are my tips and tricks for makeup in this humidity and climate. Of course, there are many more things you can do that I might not know about. If you have any of those tips and tricks, please let me know in the comments below. I would really like to try them, because these are the tricks I've learned from trying different things out and seeing what doesn't work and what does work, and these work for me. But if you have any other ones, let me know. I would love to hear them. So let's look at the face now that that's kind of set into the skin. It's looking pretty good. I'm just gonna move the camera a bit here so you can see my face. Wow. Super simple. So that is it. That is my full face of makeup for the humidity or climates like this in Bali. Of course, if you have any comments, please leave them below. I will answer them. Also, as I said, let me know any tips and tricks for you guys. I'm always willing to try them out. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do below. You'll get notified of all my updated content. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys next time. Mwah! Bye!